A few weeks ago, we talked a little bit about Elden Ring, right? And a
Yes.
little bit about. By the way, when we talk about Elden Ring, it gets us views. I don't know why.
Sick. People like Elden Ring.
We're not talking about Elden Ring. But
Oh.
during that conversation, we talked about how the future of filmmaking can be in a virtual space. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Especially like if you set up a game world and you customize everything, and then you can set the camera and the movements and the actors do certain things. Well, this played what I discovered last night, played into it so hard that it expanded even what I was thinking of then to another level. So the very first podcast, virtual podcast, has been recorded in the metaverse.
Okay.
Okay.
Face to face, but virtual. Face to face
Yeah.
in the metaverse, by Lex Fridman and Mark Zuckerberg. Do you guys know who Lex Fridman is?
They sound like supervillains.
They do, but
I
Lex
know who Mark
Fridman,
is.
he's a good he's a professor.
Yeah,
He always wears the suit and tie. You know what I mean?
yeah, Superman's villain.
Yeah, and then
Sure.
you
guys know
the
Lex
lizard
Fridman.
from, and then
Yeah,
Mark
and then the
Zuckerberg,
lizard.
from
From Spider-Man. Yeah.
Look, so this is him doing his regular podcast intro, and then we'll show what's happening here.
Okay.
So I'm muting it. I just want to show you the video of it. He released this yesterday as of
Mhm.
recording our podcast. So this is him doing his intro in a white space. That is not really him, and you can kind of tell.
Wow.
But that is
Yeah,
not
there's
really
there's a
him.
little
Not
bit of
bad at all.
uncanny valley, but it's not bad.
No,
So
it's not.
this is they did hours long of 3D scanning his face and his body
Wow.
size.
Yeah.
And once they created the avatar, then and they did the same for Mark Zuckerberg. Once they did that, they were able to give them the headset,
Mm.
place them in a void space. They chose a black void space because he usually does it on a straight black background, his podcast.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So all you really see is just the person and the microphone.
Can we see?
But he
that?
always does
Just
intro.
click
He
ahead.
also does intros. Yes, I'm going to get to that. Oh, but first, let me show you the screenshot, and then I'll show you the videos of them talking.
Yeah.
So basically, how it works is, I forgot to put up that slide. So they wear the headset.
Mm-hmm.
The 3D scan is looking at his face and then translating it into the animated version of him in the metaverse. Okay.
Yeah.
So they are having a conversation across from each other in the same room in the metaverse, but they're across the nation and physically. You know what I mean?
It's a little wax figurey, but it really is.
Wait
not
until
bad.
you see how it looks as they're actually talking. All right.
Dang, Zuck looks more human.
And Zuckerberg actually said that this translates over video. Like this takes less bandwidth than a video call chat, like what
Yeah,
we're doing
but-
right now.
How long did it take to do all the scans at the beginning? Is the real
Scans.
thing.
They
Oh,
actually talked about this on the
lots.
podcast. They said the biggest challenge is to make this mainstream, but the
Yeah.
technology is here now.
I mean,
right?
because look at the mapping in that middle picture
Yeah.
there. It's really, really, really close. That means they got lots and lots and lots
He
and
said
lots of
it's a
scans.
multi-hour process to do this.
Mhm.
So this is him doing the intro. All right. So this is them having their podcast where they're talking to each other.
Wow, that's not bad.
Not
No,
bad
it's
at
not.
all.
That is not bad at all. Look at how his mouth is moving.
Yeah,
I know.
If-
No, it's
Wow.
almost
you did-
perfect.
if you did a podcast with like us who are the same on every podcast, it would be easy because we could do the scans one time and then we could just do our podcast.
Yeah,
If you
except
are
when you
like
start growing
Joe
out your facial
Rogan-
hair, your hair, you have to do new scans. You know what I mean?
Oh, that is true. But
Yeah.
if like Joe Rogan, who has a guest every couple of days, that would be difficult because
So
they can't
No.
scan
You
them.
wouldn't have to do that. You just tell the simulation. You just add facial hair to the simulation.
okay, so this is like what this is. So they're sitting across from each other in this
Yeah.
void space, and this is how they are seeing each other. They're just sitting across from each other.
You
And
know
they-
what? That's kind of incredible.
bad.
Here's the thing. Look at how I'm sitting. All right.
Mm.
And like Lex Fridman, he said he was getting emotional. He's like a really big tech and science guy. So he kept going like this because he could see any direction. It's like he's in there. It's
Mhm.
not a 2D or 3D like popping out at you image. It's you can look around him like you're in the
Yeah.
room with him. You know
Like
what I mean?
you
gonna
can't
say-
see his right ear from this video, but if you turn your
But
head,
he
you would be
could.
able to see.
Yeah, he
you
could.
see the left
He
ear.
was
And
sitting
see-
or his right
across
ear.
from him in a void space, like
Paused.
they're in the same room.
Paused right here. They look like people.
Yeah.
They look like people.
They're even
It's only when they're talking to each other where you get a little bit of that uncanny valley. But look, you can even see his micro expressions.
yeah, no, they talked about everything. And the thing is, like, literally, Lex Fridman refuses to do a virtual podcast because he said he doesn't like the connection that's lost there.
Yeah.
He said this is changing everything because he'll do virtual podcasts like this because this is as real as sitting in the same room with somebody.
Imagine when a scan like this becomes mainstream and you can take 10 minutes, scan your entire body, and walk around in a virtual space.
Mhm.
And you can add things. You can add, you can change your eyebrows or your nose, or you can give yourself a big old huge booty.
Right.
And I mean, you could do anything.
Well, here's the thing. In this podcast, I listened to the whole thing. Towards the end, Mark Zuckerberg is like saying, right now, especially for regular conversations or meetings or someone, people prefer this. He said, but in the gaming world, people prefer avatars. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
You can do whatever you want. You can do it as yourself. You can do it as yourself modified. You can do it as an avatar. The metaverse is open to any possibility. And I think this just kind of like repositions the metaverse into the new world that we're going to be moving into. It's not just AI. It's also, what is this Ready Player One universe that we're building? You know
Yeah.
what I
What
mean?
does it look like?
And so this brought into my mind for us, not only with podcasts, because that's something we do week after week, but also it brought into my mind like how we know how you can like create an ultra realistic movie scene and customize it to make your own film in a gaming space. But how are films going to be made in the metaverse? It's like the same way,
Yeah.
but you could even people like, did you guys see that Black Mirror episode with that girl from Schitt's Creek who has like the
No.
blonde highlights? So that you probably saw it advertised though, like the Black Mirror episode with the girl with blonde highlights. She kind of looked like Harley Quinn. She had a mugshot. It was advertised to a lot of people. That episode is entirely based on AI creating shows from people's likenesses, and you contract yourself out to as an actor to have your likeness used by AI to create a story. That's what the metaverse is going to do. You scan yourself, and then you can Johnny Depp can be there.
Hasn't Bruce Willis already done this?
I think he might have
if you
for
can,
like deep faking.
I'm almost positive Bruce Willis, when he said he was not going to be acting anymore, he sold his likeness to like a specific company that was outside the United States to make films based off his likeness. I think this was a thing that happened like a year ago.
Fact check. No, Bruce Willis did not sell his likeness to deepfake company. That was
someone
rumor.
did though.
That was a rumor. But basically, so like say this. So I don't know. Who's really busy? Margot Robbie's a super busy actor right now, okay? Everybody wants her. So imagine she says this, look, I can't be on set with you, but if you are filming this in the meta space, I can go ahead, put on my headset. I'll set up one of the rooms in my house. And like in the evenings from, I don't know, 4 p.m. to 7 p.m., I can act my scenes. Right?
Yeah.
And you'll be able to get my likeness. You'll be able to get my movements of my body. And I'll just go ahead and do the scenes. And then you can just use that. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, yeah. And the thing is, you would have to.
And they can be. She could be.
Your likeness would have to be under contract as well. It's like, or you could even be like, you have my likeness for, you have my likeness for 5 hours today. Somebody else can be able to act out all my scenes, voice lines, movement, everything, but it will look and sound like Margot Robbie.
But even she does. I mean, even before that, like what we can do right now with this technology, make a movie in the meta space that's almost perfect, especially when there's movement, when they're talking. Like looking at this is almost perfect. You know what I mean? So imagine Margot Robbie's.
It's far from perfect, but it's a big step in the right direction.
It is.
I think if you're actually in the meta space with them, I think it actually. I think it's more real.
It would feel so real.
I think eventually though there will be kind of this romantic thing, because we've done this with vinyl, we've done this with old technology a lot, where there will be when things kind of progress in that state, that we kind of romanticize the face-to-faceness and the realness of actually video. And I think there will be a small thing that just holds on for a little bit though.
Well, so that's literally one of the topics they talked about here, is the face-to-face versus like simulated face-to-face. They said, like, so Lex Fridman, he said this is like, so he has family in the Ukraine, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's American, but he wasn't born in America. And I think he has dual citizenship in Russia and Ukraine, which is an interesting thing for him right now. And he basically, he was getting emotional because he said, I'm going to be able to use this technology to talk to family I haven't talked for in decades.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to feel like I'm in the same room as them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so this is like, what do you do when face-to-face is just as real? Like, the only difference is you can't walk up and hug them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you can still sit next to them and talk to them face-to-face and feel like you are just face-to-face, right? Just like this.
I think it's the same kind of advancement that we started to see with phones. It was like at one point, you could not talk to somebody unless you were near them.
Mm-hmm.
Then you could talk to people all the way across the country or across the world.
Right.
Then you could see them on your computer, and now you can see them on your phone. Anywhere you want, you can see this person.
The email was wild because you can send a message to anybody in the world. Now you can send a text to anybody in the world, or a video call.
Or a video call. You can FaceTime somebody right now, or Facebook Messenger. Pull up a video on most apps. You can do it on Instagram. You can do it on
WhatsApp,
Facebook,
which is popular overseas.
WhatsApp. You could do it on basically anything and pull up a video of somebody and talk to them almost anywhere with internet or service.
So this is the next version of that.
Yeah,
this is being in the same room as anybody in the world.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now all you got to do is put on a headset and make sure you got your scans in, right?
Yeah.
And this is
interesting.
This is so crazy to me because it not only revolutionizes the social side, which I know that's always been Mark's focus, is data collection and social, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's making money off of people's data and getting people to interact socially online. But now it's going to literally cross into the entertainment world in a way that's like, you don't even have to be on set to be an actor anymore. You can be a great actor and literally film your entire career can be in the meta world, the meta space. Dude, and all your acting is at home. You know
imagine
what I mean?
When this technology is the new Facebook and we're all walking around in a virtual world, talking to each other, playing games, doing all this stuff while, all the old people are standing in a black room, talking, standing in a black room in a circle,
be like,
talking to each other.
We couldn't figure out how to add walls.
Yeah. Well, the big virtual hub world is a little bit much for them.
Right. It's too much to take in. So they're like, we like black spaces and seeing our friends.
Yeah.
I hate to say it though, that might be kind of in a way us, because technology is going to progress and we're going to get old and we're going to be the old people.
Mm-hmm.
Like Lex Fridman used to do this in the black space. That's good enough for me.
Definitely, maybe not me and Wyatt, but definitely Joseph, because he's Grandpa Joe and everything.
Joe.
Freaking, I see this and I think about how we can make awesome movies and utilize the technology. You guys just sit back and be like, yeah, this is pretty cool. You weren't even on top of this. Like, you didn't even know that it was happening. I'm in the world. I'm in the space.
He's out there.
I'm out here. I'm out here. I knew about the volume way before either of you guys did.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm on top of this stuff.
Getting
You guys,
granular with it.
right. What does that word even mean, actually?
Taking a little
You're
bit
the
of
one who
time.
said it.
I feel like it meant
missaid it.
I thought what you were saying when you said you know, get granular with it was, you know, pick out some pieces of information.
Yeah.